Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today what we are going to be going over is the best case scenario for Democrats in the 2020 House of Representative elections. So with Joe Biden likely going to win the presidency by a decent margin, it's probably not going to be, in my opinion, over 300 electoral votes. I think it's going to narrow up by election day. But looking at the House map, it's definitely very favorable for Democrats, especially in a way that the Senate map definitely is not. What you have on your screen right now is what I think the best case scenario for the Democrats would be. So basically, this would be a Joe Biden victory over 300 electoral votes. The Democrats would gain 266. Well, they wouldn't gain. They would have 266 representatives to the Republicans 169, and of course, the Democrats would gain quite a few seats. The Republicans would lose a lot, and the one current Libertarian representative, Justin Amash, would lose his seat since he's not running for re-election. So going state by state, Montana, Oregon, Idaho, a bunch of states have not really changed too much, even though they have somewhat competitive races. The state of Montana, I think that, on the Democrats' best possible chances, I think that Kathleen Williams, the Democrat here, she has been out fundraising Greg Gianforte, and she could potentially win. Looking in the state of California, California's 25th congressional district, even though right now I think it's going to stay red, I can definitely see that flipping and going to a likely margin like it was back in 2018. I could see the, I believe it's Cox districts over here. Katie Porter's district could go safe. Cisneros likely. I believe that's Levin's district. It could be likely as well. A bunch of these other California districts are going to be likely. Only one safe district, which is pretty interesting. I think that Amar Campanillar could flip the seat in California's 50th district. I believe that's what it is, since Duncan Hunter is no longer in there. In the state of Arizona, I believe this is Hilalti Perneni against Shvivers. I'm not good at these names. Too many Congress members. Since he is, I believe, indicted for campaign finance violations, he's definitely not a very popular representative right now. And Hilalti Perneni, I think that's how you say it. I have no clue. She did run against Debbie Lesko, and she's kind of, moved districts. I do see Debbie Lesko's district being lean on the best case scenario. But yeah, they could flip that one. In the state of New Mexico, Torres Small could definitely retain her district. In the El Paso district, I could definitely see, flipping to a lean margin. I don't really see it being too much other than that, even on the Democrats' best day. A bunch of these districts here, formerly Republican districts back in 2018, if we were to look, likely for 25th congressional district, they didn't even think it's going to be, this close. It was. I believe it's Julie Oliver. I believe that's her name. Yeah, and this is generally comparing this to the 2008 House maps. Not the same map, but, similar kind of times, especially if it were to become a landslide. But yeah, Arkansas's, I think it's 2nd Congressional District, French Hill. Here, I think he's looking to retain his seat probably no matter what. I also think that, what's her name? Oklahoma's 5th district, Kendra Horn. Yeah, she's probably going to retain her district. I don't see her getting it over 5 points anytime, though. This is probably a lean red seat already. In the state of Florida, what I generally see is not too many flips. Actually, there's no flips. It's just a bunch of different districts getting closer. Ted Yoho seat, it's an open seat. I could definitely see getting closer. A bunch of these other seats over here could probably get a little closer than the 2018 midterms, but probably not by too much. The state of Georgia, Lucy Batts and Rob Woodall's old seat, I could definitely see that flipping for the Democrats. Again, probably not by over 5 points, but, it is what it is. In the state of South Carolina, I could see Cal Cunningham retaining his seat and some other districts sitting a little bit more close. If you look at the 2018 House maps, the 2nd and 7th districts, the 2nd one was actually a likely margin in my characterization, and the 7th district was within 19 points, but, considering that Democrats are going to outperform, even the 2018 numbers. This is kind of what it would be. I forget what his name is, but Mark Meadows, the current chief of staff at the White House, left his seat vacant, and it is currently an open seat. There's a Republican here who is not endorsed by Trump and won the primary. Not actually doing super great in polling, and because of that, I think that it definitely could flip. This is a part of the North Carolina's new redistricting, platform map, and I could definitely see it going blue since we really haven't seen this map actually being put into use. We don't actually know how these districts tend to vote, even though we have things like Cook PDIs and general demographic shifts and changes and stuff like that. We still don't actually know if they're going to vote a certain way or not, and that's why a bunch of the other the rest of the state is likely right, because I don't know, and on the best case scenario it probably would just be likely. The state of Virginia, not too much has changed here. All the same seats, just narrowing up or getting more solid. State of West Virginia, Alex Mooney's seat, I could see it getting a little closer, or on the same that it was back in 2018. I know that the 3rd Congressional District, Richard Ojeda, he definitely narrowed up that district, a district that went for Trump by 30 points back in 16. Alex Mooney only winning by 11 points. I could see that probably going again for him. I think this video is getting a little too long. So, Colorado and Utah, I can see Ben McAdams retaining his seat. Colorado just getting a little bit closer or more solid for the Democrats. In Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District, I can see Kari Eastman, winning that by a decent margin. I definitely think that after Steve Watkins was not re-elected in the primary, this is going to be tough for the Democrats to flip, but it's still possible. Iowa stays the same. In the state of Minnesota, everything is basically stayed the same except what district is this? The 1st Congressional District, super close back in 2018, could go to a lean margin to the Democrats. Wisconsin, getting a little closer. The state of Illinois, what's his name? Davis, I think that he could probably lose his seat since it was absolutely close back in the 2018 election. It could flip to the Democrats. Lauren Underwood and the other guy, they could probably improve on their margins. In the state of Michigan, I think that the incumbents would keep their seats except for Upton and Amash. Since this is an open seat, I could definitely see it going towards the Democrats. And Upton has been falling behind in the polls by double digits. So because of that, yeah. In the state of Indiana, an open seat over here, I definitely could potentially see a Democratic pickup. Polling has been pretty close, but it is the state of Indiana. It is solid red, and it is probably going to stay with the Republicans at the end of the day, but this is the best case scenario for the Democrats. State of Kentucky, I don't see this district going for the Democrats anytime soon. State of Ohio, 12th Congressional District, I believe it is, or the 10th. Yeah, 12th. Troy Balderson, the Republican here, won in a special election. Very contested, but in the end of the day, I can see it potentially flipping. Ohio's 1st Congressional District, also pretty competitive this year around. I can see it flipping. Now going into Pennsylvania, I could see the Erie District, flipping along with, I'm sorry, I don't know all these names. Perry's District could definitely flip since it was close, along with Fitzpatrick's. Fitzpatrick District, that's a little different and difficult to kind of predict, as he is leading in polling by a lot. And I generally just see this as a likely district for Republicans. I could actually see him improving on his margins that he did in 2018. But this is assuming that he'd do the best. The Democrats would do the best. Looking at New Jersey, Jeff Andrew, a former Democrat, flipped to the Republican Party. I could see him losing a seat. In the state of New York, some crazy things happening. Long Island, Led Zeldin and King could probably lose their seats, as they have been pretty close. Sorry about that. They've been pretty close in polling. I also think that the Elise Stefanik's district could probably flip. Tetra Cobb, outraising her previously in the election cycle, could probably, pull off an upset win. I think that this might be a sleeper district in the 2020 House elections. Also, New York's 27th congressional district, even though it was not really that close in I think it was another special election, because of the unpopularity of the previous incumbent, I think that it could potentially flip. However, the rest of New York, I think, will generally stay the same. Same goes with the rest of the Northeast, New Hampshire and Maine, trending more blue. In my opinion, I think Jared Golden is a solid fit for the 2nd Congressional District, as he is more of a blue dog Democrat and appeals to the more Trump-like voters there. But yeah, this is generally the best case scenario for the Democrats in the 2020 House elections. I forgot to talk about Alaska, but Elise Galvin challenging one of the most entrenched and oldest serving House members. And because she has been outperforming him and is very popular, if you actually look at recent polls, I know polls in Alaska are hard to, actually take for serious because, it's hard to poll Alaska. But yeah, this is the Democrats' best case scenario in the 2020 House map. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe, and thank you.